Interior, Hobbs Farm Barn, night. There are a couple of horses and a few chickens in the barn. Benjamin and Julia are lying together in the loft atop a makeshift bed of loose hay. Benjamin, does your father know you're here? Julia, yes, he knows. I told him I was spending the night to help Abigail. He won't be out looking for me. Benjamin, good. Julia, of course, he doesn't know that you're here, or that would make quite a bit of difference. Benjamin, oh, well, my intentions are the most innocent and pure. Julia, oh, sure, now they are. Benjamin, I'm sorry. Julia, about what? Benjamin, about whatever it was you were angry with me about earlier. Julia, oh, I was just a little put off that you were off to war and you didn't have the inclination to write a short letter to someone you'd spent so much time with to let her know you were all right, that you weren't injured or anything, that you were still alive. Benjamin, I'm sorry. Really. I thought of you all the time. It's just that I can't describe it. Julia, what? War? Benjamin, yes. Julia, at supper you made it sound so adventurous. Benjamin, it's not like that, really. I was just trying not to worry Abigail. In reality, there are no words. Julia, you've killed people? Benjamin, yes. Julia, how many? Benjamin, I have no idea. You lose count standing at the front line swinging a blade for hours, it seems, almost like clearing brush or felling trees. That last battle at Hastings, we were all covered in blood from Willard soldiers that we'd killed. Julia, I'm so sorry. Benjamin, something inside me died, I think. I don't look at the world the same way. It all seems so trivial. Julia, I see. Benjamin, look, I need to finish this job escorting Willie, but when I'm done with that, I'll officially be discharged from the Army. I'll go home to visit my mother and father, and then I'll come back here. When I do, I'd like to have a conversation with your father. Julia, about what? Benjamin, about us. Julia, about Ben? Are you serious? Benjamin, is that what you want? Julia, my God, oh my God, of course, oh my love. She kisses him, and the kisses grow more and more passionate. Exterior, farm of Larkin Hobbs, day. Willard's carriage is coming up the road with the escort minus Benjamin, and with Lasher riding inside the carriage with Willard. They stop in the road in front of the farm. Benjamin emerges from the barn with Julia. Larkin and Abigail emerge from the house. Benjamin is leading his saddled horse. Abraham rides over to him. Abraham, are you going to be joining us, Ben? Benjamin, yes, sir. Sorry, sir. I got a bit distracted. Abraham, so I see. Well, the prince is in a hurry. Benjamin, yes, sir. Could I have a moment? Abraham, just one, Corporal. Abraham rides back over to the carriage. Abigail to Benjamin, you'll be stopping by again on your way back through? Benjamin, if I can. I'll be back in the next week or two in any case. I've got some business I want to take care of here. Abigail, what kind of business? Julia giggles and Benjamin looks abashed. Abigail, oh, that kind of business. Well then, little brother, you take care of yourself and I'll see you again really soon. Benjamin gives her a kiss, roughly hugs Larkin, and then kisses Julia before getting on his horse. Benjamin, see you all soon. He rides off, taking his position in the escort. Hugo flicks the reins and they resume their journey. Interior, Castle Morwen Grand Hall, night. The residence of the royal family of Lennox is crowded with dignitaries. There is a reception presided over by Prince Harold, 50. Also nearby is the Earl of Greensbury, 60, with his wife and daughter of Harold, Laura, 28. Near him is his man Sylvie, 30, wearing Greensbury's colors. The doors open, and the court crier, 30, enters. The crier, Prince Willard of Ellegon. The crier steps aside, and Willard enters, with Abraham and Ben trailing behind. Willard's two bodyguards are wearing stiff formal gowns over their light armor for the occasion. Harold comes forward to face Willard, Greensbury just behind him. He's holding a mostly empty goblet. Harold's speech is slurred. Harold, well, I'm guessing the chambermaid was too busy to attend. Willard, I'm sorry, Harold. Harold, tell me, Willard, why King John of Ellegon sees fit to send you instead of coming himself. Willard, Father is busy ending the war with Winland, as you well know, since Lennox had soldiers fighting alongside ours. Harold, then where is Philip? Surely the crown prince can be spared. After all, we are mourning the death of the sovereign of one of Ellegon's oldest and steadiest allies, yes? Willard, Philip is assisting Father. Greensbury, as always, send Willie when nobody cares. It was ever thus, my prince. Willard, I apologize if my presence here gives offense, Greensbury. I'd be more than happy to leave if that would help. Harold, no, damn you, and damn John. Willard, I believe you're drunk. Harold, what if I am? My father is dead, boy. You have no idea what this means. Willard, let's lay your father to rest tomorrow morning, and then I'll be gone and trouble you no more. Is that acceptable? Harold, very well. Harold turns away. Greensbury, I just hope that... Harold, Greensbury, come. Greensbury turns to follow Harold. Abraham steps up to Willard. Sylvie follows as well. Abraham, I think those two bear watching, my prince. Willard, indeed. Interior, Philip's quarters, Castle Gray. Flashback, day. The Crown Prince's quarters are large and luxurious, with a nice bed and heavy draperies and wall hangings. Philip, 36, tall and athletic, charismatic, is sitting at his desk reading by candlelight over a thick document covered with spidery handwriting. Willard enters, letting himself in. He's carrying his sheathed sword. Philip, sarcastically, Oh, come in, it's open. Willard, I'm happy to see you too, brother. What are you doing? Willard makes himself comfortable, stretching out on Philip's sofa. Philip, reading this treaty between Alatia and Ellegon. Willard, God, that must be ancient. Philip, it's signed by John II. Willard, don't you have anything better to do? Philip, no, Father insists I must know this document backwards and forwards when I ascend to the throne. Willard, but you won't be ascending to the throne for quite some time. Philip, we don't know that, and I've got a lot of catching up to do. John was raised studying this stuff, and I always assumed that he would be crowned when the time came, and I could go about my merry way. Now that he's gone, Willard, yes, still seems so strange. Philip, so now I need to study this treaty. Father and Minister Crowley will be testing me on it come the morning. Willard, you need a break. Philip, no. Willard, get the blood pumping. Philip, no. Willard, come on, Phil. You have no idea how bored I am. Save me. Besides, how long has it been since you've broken a sweat? Philip, what are you offering? Willard, to best you yet again at fencing. Philip, oh, right. I thought you were offering me the opportunity to break a sweat. Willard, I have 4 silver florins in my purse that could be yours should you defeat me. Philip, let me see them. Philip gets up and takes out his coin bag, pouring the coins on the desk. Philip inspects them. Willard, what do you offer as stakes? Philip looks around, finally opening a desk drawer and taking out a small bag with a string around the top. Willard, what's that? Philip hands it to Willard, who sniffs it. Ah, saffron. Where'd you come by this? Philip, that's for me to know. Willard, as you wish, draws his sword. On guard, Crown Prince Philip. Philip, let me find my... He looks around and finds his sword in its scabbard on a belt hanging from a peg near the bed. Philip draws the sword as Willard closes the latch to the door. Philip, on guard, brother. Philip lunges and Willard blocks his attack. The two brothers fence ferociously, destroying many of the furnishings in the room. Philip is a good fencer, but Willard is an expert. He's extremely quick and a lot stronger than he looks as well. After totally wrecking the room, Philip holds up a hand, stopping Willard's attack, and lowers the sword. Philip is sweaty and panting. Willard is barely winded. Philip, enough! I concede. Willard, again. Philip, one day I'll find an antidote to that confounded quickness of yours. Willard, oh, that's a day that will never come. Willard scoops up the florins and the pouch with the saffron as a pounding starts on the door. Philip, that will be Lady Margaret. Margaret, off camera. Philip, what's happening? What is all that noise? Philip, look at this room. She's going to skin both of us. Willard, oh, just you. I'm afraid I must be going. Philip, what? No, you help me make this mess. You're going to help me deal with the consequences. Willard opens the door. There stands Lady Margaret, 60, who maintains the royal household. Margaret, Willard, oh, I might have known with all the crashing and shouting coming from this room. Oh my God, look at this mess. What have you been doing? Willard, ask him. And I'm off. I will see you later, brother. Margaret, please be forgiving. He's had a long day. Willard exits. Interior hallway at Castle Gray. Flashback. Day. Willard closes the door and pauses a moment, eavesdropping. All of this roughhousing and wreckage may be permissible when you're a child, but you're a grown man. And you're the crown prince now. God rest your brother John's soul. Philip, but Margaret, you have duties and responsibilities. You need to take them seriously. Philip, but Margaret, what would your father say if he saw this room? What do you think he'd say? You must understand that he has the weight of this whole corner of the world on his shoulders, and you are to help him bear it. You must. Interior Cathedral at Castle Morwen. Day. Willard snaps awake. He had been dozing during the funeral. The pews are filled with King George's funeral service. The Bishop of Lennox, 70, is praying in Latin. In front of the altar is a closed coffin with the flag of Lennox draped over it. The bishop gestures for everyone to rise. The pallbearers come down to pick up Charles's coffin and carry him away, followed by Harold and his wife, Druissa, 40. As they leave the cathedral, Harold does manage to shoot Willard a nasty look. Greensbury is also staring at Willard from his place a few pews behind him. Exterior courtyard of Castle Morwen. Day. Willard's carriage is there, hitched to the horses and loaded with Hugo in position to drive. The bodyguard is there as Willard walks up to the carriage. Ben and Abraham approach Willard. Willard, are we ready to go? Abraham, we are, my prince. Willard, then let's get going. Abraham, yes, my lord. Benjamin will be riding with you this time. Willard, very well. Willard gets into the carriage, Ben following him inside. Interior, exterior, Willard's carriage. Day. Benjamin settles across from Willard. Benjamin, are you comfortable, my lord? Willard, I'm never comfortable in these damn things, but there's nothing you can do about it. Benjamin, I understand completely, my lord. The carriage starts moving. Willard, who was that young woman? Benjamin, I'm sorry, my lord. Willard, yesterday, outside of Lorraine. I know you couldn't have forgotten her already. She was quite lovely. Benjamin, ah, yes, Julia, yes. Benjamin, Willard, she's dear to you? Benjamin, yes, my lord. We're thinking about getting married. Willard, married? Really? Benjamin, yes. Willard, wonderful. You must invite me to the wedding. Benjamin, really? I wouldn't think someone of your, station would be interested in attending a commoner's wedding. Willard, I love commoners' weddings. When someone in my family gets married, it's all solemn ceremonies, unendurable rituals, and often as not, the couple can't stand each other because they're marrying for political expediency. Commoners marry for love, and it's a joyous celebration, lots of dancing and drinking and everyone having a good time. That, my good man, is a real party. Benjamin, well, I haven't exactly spoken to her father about it yet, so it may never happen. Willard, does he like you? Benjamin, I can't say. I've only had one conversation with him, and that was many months ago. Willard, oh, he'll be glad his daughter's marrying herself off to someone like you, I would suspect. Nobody would dare bother her knowing you're about. Make him sleep better at night. Benjamin, if you say so, my lord. Willard, so I'll be looking for my invitation then. Benjamin, of course, my lord. I'm sure we'd all be quite honored if you should come. Willard, then it's settled. At least someone will be happy to see me. Benjamin, yes, my lord. Exterior, Willard's carriage, day. They're riding through a hilly area. Lasher is riding his horse near Hugo's perch so they can talk without shouting. Abraham and Biggs lead the carriage, would welcome Benjamin's saddled but riderless horse, bringing up the rear. They pass a boulder that has a chalk marking that looks like a stylized letter F. Welk. What is that? Biggs. What? That? Well, yes. Biggs. That's a marking that means the Finn have been spotted in this area. Welk. God, really? Biggs. You don't believe in the Finn? Welk. Do you? Biggs. I grew up hearing the stories. Dad used to say that way back in the day we had Finn blood in us. Welk. Right, I'm sure. Biggs. So you don't believe? Welk. You'd think with all the stories and legends there are that we'd encounter them a lot more often, wouldn't you? Biggs. Well, Welk. I mean, there must be at least as many of them as there are us. You'd think we'd run into them on the road, or we'd find an old campsite or a place where they used to live, right? Something you can hold in your hand like an arrowhead or something. Biggs. I think, well, but nothing, no sign, just vague stories told by drunkards and fools. Biggs. They're magical. Welk. Oh, right. Magical. Biggs. They are. They could be anywhere and we wouldn't see them unless they wanted us to see. Well, yes, that makes so much more sense. Biggs. Are you having me on? I can't tell. Well, I'd never do that. Biggs. Are you sure? Welk. Quite sure, Mr. Biggs, quite sure. The terrain is heavily forested and hilly, and the road is about to pass through a narrow slot between two rises after they round a sharp curve. The trees crowd up close to the road. There's a deep ditch on either side of the road. Lasher. So you've worked for Willie for 6 years, you say? Hugo. Yep, best 6 years of my life. Lasher. Really? How'd you come to work for the royal family? Hugo. I didn't say I worked for the family. I worked for Prince Willard. Look, I promise not to say anything to anybody. Lasher. About what? Hugo. The circumstances of how I met the prince. Lasher. We won't tell anyone, will we? Hugo. Fine. Well, remember when John declared a celebration when his grandson Jacob was born? Lasher. I remember. I was drunk for a solid week, I think. Hugo. Yeah, and so was I. John and his court were sailing up the Toka River, and I wanted to get a good look. I was drunk, as I said, and I fell in the river. The next thing I knowed, I was in the deepest part. Water was way over my head, and me not knowing how to swim a lick. I knew I was drowned for sure. Suddenly I felt someone grab my collar and drag me up, pulling me all the way to the bank. I coughed up water and rolled over to see who my rescuer was, and it was none other than our Prince Willard. Lasher. Really? I would see Philip doing something like that, but Willie? Hugo. I'm telling you, Mr. Lasher, he saw me fall in and dove into that river without a second thought. Found me, grabbed me, and towed me to shore like I weighed no more than a pebble. And me fully dressed and soaked to the skin. Lasher. Willie did that. Prince Willie. Hugo. Indeed. There's more to him than meets the eye. You'd do well to remember that. I promised him I'd spend the rest of my life in service to him, and he made me promise not to tell anybody about what he'd done. Lasher. Why? Hugo. I'm not sure, but I broke that promise telling you, so I'd appreciate it if you'd keep it to yourself. Got me? Lasher. I do. I do indeed. The carriage rounds the curve in the road. Hugo. Hold up. What do we have here? Hugo tugs the reins, stopping the carriage. In front of the carriage, the road is blocked with a chopped down tree. It's a narrow spot with no room on the road's shoulders. Abraham looks at it a moment before turning to Hugo. Turn the carriage around. Hugo. There's no room. Larkin. What is it? Abraham. It's an ambush. Ben, look alive. Willard. Is there a problem, Sergeant? Abraham. Possible, my lord. Just stay where you are. There's a sound of a shot, and Hugo takes a musket ball in the chest. He gasps and falls over to the side. Lasher. Hugo! The bodyguard all draw their blades as 11 men charge out of the woods, 5 of them pointing pistols at the bodyguard. The 5 men with pistols all fire, though their shots mostly hit the carriage or miss entirely. The men draw their swords and charge. Dismount and draw weapons. Defend the prince. The bodyguard climbs off of their horses and draws their swords, preparing to meet the oncoming charge. The riderless horses run away. Exterior, forest near ambush pass. Day. From cover of the forest, the highwayman Henry Roberts, 36, lays down his second rifle next to the first and grabs his own pistol before walking towards the carriage where his men fight Willard's bodyguard. He's also carrying a sword. Interior, exterior, Willard's carriage. Day. Benjamin has drawn his own sword and is looking through the windows. Willard. What is it? Benjamin. An ambush. Men charging out of the forest. Willard. What do we do? Benjamin. Can you ride, my lord? Willard. Ride? Of course. Benjamin. My horse is behind us. When I dash out, wait a moment and then run out and make for him. Willard. I can't leave you here. Benjamin. We are here to protect you, my prince. Wilt will go with you. Go back to Brookhaven and alert the Earl's guard. Willard. Very well. Willard draws his own sword. Benjamin. And you won't be needing that. Willard. What? I can't defend myself? Benjamin. You would be better off just running, my lord. Please forgive me, but you'll probably be more of a hindrance with that thing than a help. Willard. Oh, still I'll keep it handy. Benjamin. Very well. Benjamin pauses a moment, readying himself, before opening the door and leaping outside, his sword drawn. Exterior, Willard's carriage, ambush past. Day. Benjamin is engaged by 2 men immediately, and he keeps them at bay as Willard emerges from the carriage, his own sword in hand. Benjamin. Welk, go with him. Benjamin cuts down one of his assailants as Willard runs to the back of the carriage. Welk is fighting 2 men of his own. One turns to engage Willard. Willard fences with the man a moment before expertly disarming him as Welk runs his foe through. As the man bends to pick up the blade, Welk and Willard mount the horses and ride away. The fight continues. Biggs kills his man and is cut down by another a moment later, though he is wounded, not dead. Lasher and Benjamin each kill a man. Roberts emerges from the forest holding his own sword. Roberts. Enough! Enough, I say! His men disengage, stepping back from the courtyard. Abraham. Who the hell are you? Roberts. Someone who has no interest in more bloodshed, especially on behalf of royalty. Benjamin. He'd be Henry Roberts. Abraham. Oh, I should have known. Roberts. At your service. Abraham. Bastard. Roberts. I've got rifles trained on all of you even as we speak. Abraham. Bull. You have 2 rifles at best. It'll take him a good couple of minutes to reload, and likely as not the damn thing will blow up in his face when he fires it. If it weren't you who fired them in the first place. Roberts. I admire confidence, but in this case it's misplaced. Lay down your weapons and you will not be harmed. Abraham. How am I to trust the word of an outlaw and a brigand? Roberts. Don't trust me and die right now, or trust me and perhaps die later, if at all. There's a long pause as Abraham and Roberts eye each other. Finally, Abraham drops his blade. The other bodyguards do the same. Roberts. Wise choice. See to the wounded. Hello, this is J. Franklin Evans. Thank you for listening to this episode of Stories That Suck. Did this story suck? Let me know.